Assalamu alaikum viewers. Welcome to the next episode of North American Muslim Foundation's Senior Talk Show funded by the New Horizons for Seniors grant. Today on our show we have Suzanne Reed. Suzanne loves to travel and help people travel across the globe. So she deals with traveling, and today let's hear it from her about herself and what can be improvised in the community for seniors. Hi Suzanne, welcome to the Seniors Talk Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on this show today.
Thank you.
The episodes that we are currently recording are for helping out seniors in various ways, especially because of the COVID. Most of them have been, feeling various emotions. And they want to find out how they can get back to life and what are the services that we can improve for seniors during the coming months. We would like to hear from you. How are you doing now?
I am doing significantly better. Thank you for
Wonderful.
asking.
Wonderful.
I would say the very beginning of the pandemic was really difficult.
Yes.
I only, as a travel agent, I only get paid when clients
Travel.
travel. So all of the work that I did for planning their trips, booking their trips, canceling their trips, I didn't get paid for it. But that's, I think, as time went on, I think that just sort of became a secondary factor.
Yeah.
Our mental health, I think, was more
Affecting.
important. I have teenage boys at home. I have parents that are seniors. So it was really just trying to, at the beginning, just manage to make sure everybody else was in a good place, right?
Yeah. Eventually it comes to that when you come, when we, experience that situation of the pandemic, then we said, money is not that important, wealth is not important, but our health was more important than anything else.
Important piece.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Health
that's
is
the-
wealth.
That is the only thing that I could just keep saying is, you know what?
Yeah.
We have our health, I have my family, we have our friends,
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything else is a blessing on top of
It
that.
is. Very true. Very true. Coming to the medical services, I'm sure you do, utilize the services along with the seniors, your parents or your in-laws. What do you think needs to be improvised with the medical services being provided here in Canada?
Definitely long-term care facilities, I think, are an area that we do need to spend more resources on.
Yes.
I have one of my mother-in-laws is in a long-term care facility. She has multiple sclerosis. So fortunately, cognitively,
Yeah.
she's okay.
Mhm.
It's her physical body is shutting down on her. But I think that because she does have her cognitive abilities, she is able to still vocalize, if there was something that wasn't right in her long-term care facility. And she's close by that there's enough family members that can check in on her.
Yes.
I definitely worry about seniors who would be in that position and didn't have the cognitive ability to express if something wasn't right.
Yes.
And or didn't have family members that could honestly be checking in on them
Yeah.
on a regular basis, because
Yeah.
I,
No,
I
I
think the
agree.
care is very different.
It is different, yes.
If you've got family or you don't have family.
And also during the COVID we experienced, we saw what had happened during the within the long-term care facilities. So I'm sure, I hope the government does something to improvise those, because in the coming years, many people might be utilizing that service.
Right?
Yeah.
Hopefully there's going to be more resources that allow people to stay home
Yeah.
longer in their own homes. Obviously that would be the ideal situation, but depending on what
The
issue
family situation
it
is.
may not always be possible, right?
Yeah, that is true. And that's the reason they have these programs, community programs, having to make sure that seniors age respectfully in their own household. Also, it depends if the children are working or not working.
Yeah.
It's a huge area, and a different dynamic for every family. Yeah, but we hope that the long-term care facilities improve services so people can be safe and sound there as well. Yeah. We know we did speak about the pandemic and the social isolation a bit, but what did you do during those 2 years to try to avoid social isolation and try to be positive? What did you do?
So basically, I walked. I must have walked miles and miles and miles. For me, that was, we have a dog, so I was fortunate that I was able to get out and be with her. That helped to create sort of some normalcy for me because she still needed her routine. She didn't know that there was a pandemic going on, right? And then as sort of time progressed, then I was able to, I found friends that had similar viewpoints in terms of that we're comfortable going outside for a walk as well. So again, we would spend a lot of time outdoors. We did a lot of driveway visits. Fortunately, my parents live in an adult living community north of the city. So I wasn't as concerned about them because, again, they were able to get out and go for a walk. And then their community as well started to do, driveway socials and stuff like that, where everyone would gather, but they would be on their own individual driveways and meet, right? Or they could meet in the road or whatever because there aren't any cars around. I probably was actually most worried about my other set of in-laws because they just live in a sort of a regular subdivision. And they don't have other seniors that are nearby. They didn't really have other friends that were sort of close by. So again, it was a lot of drop by, driveway visits.
It did take a lot of toll on some seniors, like what you're saying, it did take a lot of toll on those seniors. But we hope that, they start practicing again, practicing well-being again, coming back to the programs, maybe virtually or maybe physically, going for a walk. That is the best thing that you could have done. Just walk and walk. Even when there is pandemic or no pandemic, just keep walking. That is also going to be so helpful for each senior.
Yeah, it does, right? It's just, I think the fresh air really helps to sort of just clear your mind. And
that's true.
To be connected with nature a little bit is always a good thing.
Yeah, it is good and it gives you a peace of mind, Since you deal with a lot of seniors, and I know seniors do discuss all these issues, what do you think about the financial issues of seniors who are on a strict budget? Like they get their pensions and that's what they have to survive for a month. And especially like you are in the travel industry and one part of, the well-being is traveling. So it helps the seniors, especially the aftermath of COVID, when people want to travel, it gives them a little bit of a peace of mind and it gives them that feeling of well-being. So can you share a little bit about the financial help that the government is providing, or we could have some improvements in that as well?
Obviously, if you have to, planning is a big piece of it, right? So,
exactly.
Whether it's, I think even as our teenage children, right, they need to start planning.
Yes.
We're probably in the situation as many other Canadians where we don't have a pension. So we will have to save everything for our retirement ourselves. I think to rely on what the government would give us is very little.
Yes.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure what that amount is, but I know it's not that you can't live off of that now.
Yes, you can't.
Right? It's not possible.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to prepare and plan for it, right? And not every employer has pension plans either, right?
Yes.
It's like that's for self-employed. So it's a big onus on us to be able to make sure that we can. And I feel like sometimes there could be a fair bit of inequity as well between private and public sectors, and especially when it comes to pension plans. So.
Yeah, especially most of the seniors, who haven't worked here in Canada do face that challenge. And, it's so difficult for a parent who has been living off on their own hard-earned money to even, seek help from their children because the children have their own expenses. It's so difficult. So when we hear about the seniors, they're constantly saying that the pension is not sufficient. We hope if the government can increase a bit because the lifestyle is increasing and expenses have been increased and the commodities have been increased because of the COVID. Life has been affected a lot. So either way, let's hope that, something good can come their way. Would you like to share some light on the transportation facilities provided here? Any suggestions for the transportation?
I mean, again, I from my experience, I mean, fortunately, my parents are still capable to be able to drive themselves.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my dad has very bad glaucoma, so he essentially is blind. So, you know, because of transportation, ultimately, if something were to happen to my mother, my dad is going to have to move, and he's going to have to move closer to us, because he won't be able to get around because of where they live. They don't have transportation in their community. You know, I think it's a little bit easier maybe when you're in a bigger city, right? Because you do have things like Wheel-Trans, and you know, for my mother-in-law who's in a nursing home, I mean, she does have transportation that will take her to her medical appointments and that sort of stuff. But because my parents are in a bit more of a rural area,
so this could be a proper suggestion for the government to, you know, provide some shuttle services within the rural areas as well. You know, that's a good help if they could have, then that could benefit the seniors.
He would ultimately have to move solely because of transportation.
We hope that the government provides services to rural areas where the services can be provided to the seniors as well. Apart from that, would you like to share any health tips to our seniors, especially for them to overcome for what they have been experiencing for the past 2-3 years? What is the best suggestion that you can give? Since you travel, maybe you can talk a little bit about travel therapy.
Absolutely,
talk a little about
absolutely.
travel
I'm sure that every single one of us is like, if there's one thing that the pandemic has taught us, is that, you know, life is short, and we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, and we do need to be able to sort of enjoy for today. With that being said, I think it's also very important to ensure that we're protected while we travel. I won't let clients travel if they don't have out-of-province medical insurance. I know it can be very expensive, especially depending on what your medical conditions are. But the reality is that there is coverage that you can get out there even for pre-existing medical conditions. And yes, it may seem like it's expensive, but it's not even close to what it costs for if something were to happen while in destination.
So the OHIP card covers only for the people living in Ontario. What if they need to go to Nova Scotia and something happens there? So do you suggest to take a travel insurance?
I still suggest that there is a different type of insurance that's for travel within Canada. So I would definitely recommend still taking that out. I mean, I'm not as being within Canada, you're still going to have some coverage, but for peace of mind, honestly, I think it can make life a whole lot easier, because you don't want to run into a situation where something happens medically and then you're stuck in the hospital down there, right? You want to be able to get back home as quickly as possible.
And are vaccinations important too? Some of the people.
Well, yeah, vaccinations are incredibly. I mean, basically, it's impossible to travel at this point without being fully vaccinated. And I think that so I've actually done 2 trips since COVID. Most recent one where I just actually came back from Jamaica. And it was actually really, really reassuring to know that there is as much protocol happening in some destinations as there is here, right? I mean, we had to wear a mask the whole time. We had to wear a mask outdoors if you wanted to go get a towel from the pool. You know, there was hand sanitization, there was temperature checks, there was, you know, everything that we're doing here. So I think that was a positive reinforcement for me to know that, you know, we are moving slowly forward, moving cautiously, which is important. but that travel is going to come back, and it just might look a little bit differently. But that's
Yeah.
okay. We can live with that. I think, right?
Wonderful.
That means we can explore our world still.
We need to, yes,
Yes,
yes. No, that these are
absolutely.
great suggestions,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to traveling, because we know most of the seniors are looking forward to travel once the situation gets back to normal, but it might be a little bit different. But thank you so much, Suzanne, for sharing these wonderful views with our, viewers. They would love to hear your suggestions, and thank you once again for joining us. So please, seniors, if you are traveling, please make sure that you follow the protocol, because we know most of you have been thinking of traveling outside of Canada or within Canada. Stay safe, stay healthy. That's the most important thing. Once again, your host Sajida Khan on behalf of the North American Muslim Foundation for Seniors, and this program was brought to you by the New Horizons for Seniors grant. Thank you once again. See you in our next episode. Assalamu alaikum.